Now, family, I have a panel of esteemed men with me this morning, and we are going to have real talk about real things, such as the issues that affect us as men, and especially us growing up to be fathers. And this discussion is for men and women alike. You know, if you know the challenges your loved ones are facing, then you are in a position to help them in the best way possible. So together, male and female, we're going to be scaling and defeating the barriers today. So with me are men who I believe are perfect for the discussion. So let me introduce them now. So with me is Mr. Kevin Bailey, psychotherapist with Family Life Ministries and co-host of a program on Love FM, The Mailbox, a program designed to challenge, empower, and encourage men. And to his left is Reverend Jayson Downer, president of Magava, that is Men of God Against Violence and Abuse, which is a faith-based organization that exists primarily to mobilize men to play their rightful role in society. And to my right is Peter Samuels, a member of MAN, that is Mentoring a Nation, a Christian-based organization that has male leadership as part of their focus to train and provide a strong community for Christian men. Gentlemen, welcome. Really great to have you.
Nice, great to be here.
And we are living in an extremely interesting time. So we're having today a discussion about boys, young men, about men around us, and we're trying to figure out if the society, the family units, the education system provides all that we need to become good fathers. And today, more than any other day, there's just this demand from the society for good fathers. They say good fathers build a nation. Yeah. Good fathers end up having children that are well-adjusted, and the research is showing that the children are just more focused, more disciplined, and that results in a better community, and a better community results in a better nation. Okay. So fathers are just so indispensable. So let me open with this question. Do you believe our society is preparing our men, young men, our boys for fatherhood in the nation?
So I think that a lot more could have been done as far as preparation is concerned. We're seeing the impact now. Right. We do know that, boys were disconnected from their fathers. They're twice likely to drop out of school, twice likely to end up in prison, 4 times likely to have emotional and behavioral challenges.
Wow.
For girls, they are more prone, low self-esteem, more easy to get pregnant, and kind of predisposed to be single mothers.
Right.
So we have the research, and we're seeing the impact of men not being prepared by society. Many challenges, and we can talk about the impact of slavery and colonialism and how that has affected us. There's literature about post-traumatic slave syndrome, which affects us post-traumatic. So it's almost like, it's trauma. So we have inherited some of these things. And then you think of parenting, which you're looking at nature and nurture. Genes we inherited, but also how we're socialized. Right. And I think boys have been abused when you look at it in various ways, whether intentionally or unintentionally. That's a big one, and we can talk about that. But then the missing fathers, and we're expecting boys and men to know things, but they were never taught. So we're trying to correct behaviors that were never taught.
Right.
That is just chaos.
Right.
So just throw out a few of those things, that there are some challenges, and I want to leave it to my other brothers to talk about some of that.
But how can these boys not be taught if the men before don't know either? So there is where the dichotomy comes in. The issue is, where is this going to start? Where do we start? Get the information, the correct thing to teach a young one.
Right. So pretty much you're saying that the society doesn't have a lot of places that the men can find out how to be good men. And history just keeps repeating itself.
Definitely.
Right. But it's a good place to start in terms of recognizing that we have a problem.
Yes.
And I think, for example, this is one era where we're focused on now, the fact that we're all here looking at it. And I think recognizing that we have a problem, looking at the historical impact that slavery had, but now what do we do? And also to take an individualized approach as a man in your household right now to say, hey, do I have a father wound? How can I be healed from that? And now, what do I do in moving forward so I don't repeat that cycle?
Right. Yeah. So I think that programs like this need to be done so that we can sensitize the men. They can listen to it and understand. One of the things that you mentioned, Kevin, was what some people call transgenerational habits. So have you ever heard the story about the woman who cooked ham and cut it in half? She every Christmas she cooked the ham, she cut it in half, and her husband asked her why she did it. And she said, this is the way it is done because my mother did it and my grandmother did it. So he went to the grandmother and said, why he did it? She said, my oven was too small. It's not like these modern ovens that can hold it big. So what happened is that a generational pattern was set up. And the suggestion is that from slavery, we have a generational pattern where young men are not taught to take responsibility in the home. They are out in the fields, work as soon as possible. But the girls are taught to take the responsibility. So when it comes to manhood, the girls are that much more advanced than the men because they were just never taught. Any thoughts on that?
You're talking about parenting, for instance, and the fact that all boys sometimes are parent differently, but adversely. You know, or girls, you know, it's like precious. You spend time learning. You can cook, you can wash. We spend time with your books, and so boys, you know, go outside and you can play the field, as it were, but there's no discipline and expectations of you. In fact, academics is not really high on our, you know, what we have in our head. So how our boys are socialized, and at the same time, I think not understood. It's like we can't cry. We can't feel pain because we're a machine. So, you know, if you drop, you know, box and kick and get up and then when we come into intimate relationships, you must have empathy. What is that? Like affection. That's strange.
We have not even been taught.
No. We don't know. So many things that we think our men know, they don't know. I remember when my son was at a particular age, he said to me, Daddy, could you teach me how to peel an orange? No, let me tell you something. I was about to say something to him that wasn't so nice. Because in the country, you just get orange and knife and you just peel it. So when you're saying, teach me how to peel orange, I'm saying, what is this now? But then a small boy said to me, he's asking you to teach him. So I said, bring the knife, bring the orange, and I showed him, and then I said, practice. After a while, he got it. It built the confidence for him to come and ask me anything. He felt free. We know we have been in a shame-based society. Go and do that. You're big like, you're black like, you're idiot, you're fool. And then we expect them to do better. We have to change the narrative.
And the thing about it, too, is what Kevin spoke about. It's not just coming from dad. It's coming from mothers who, you know, statistics point to well over 80% of the household is led by not just a single mother or a grandmother, actually. And so that shaming comes from there as well. And so a boy will not necessarily know what to do, too, because daddy being absent from the home, the modeling of what manhood looks like is absent. Because, you know, as young men, we do more of what we see than what it is that we're told.
And when you send the boys out, so you go out play and the girls, the boy doesn't know how to nurture. So when he becomes a father, his understanding is, I need to go out and leave all of that to the woman. So, yes, it's a thing where we are not taught and we don't know what to do. We don't have the example.
Important to point this out to Sir Dwight is fatherlessness does not necessarily mean the absence of daddy from the home. It means the absence of the quality relationship. Because Dr. Herbert Gale would point to the fact that since independence, there has been an increase in father presence. You understand? So we can point to that, whether marital or common law union. But it still means there's an absence of the type of relationship that is needed.
Yes, because most of the fathers now think that once I provide, that's all where fathering stops. I'm there physically, but I give you to take care of the house financially. And it's done. I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, but I like what Kevin said, because we're not taught any emotional intelligence. We're not taught how to relate to the person's needs in that regard. I'm a machine.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
If I fall down, I just get up and brush off myself. I can't even cry for my own self.
No.
So when you fall down as my child, you know, where do you done this?
Yeah.
And there is no building up that relationship that the child needs to grow to the next level.
I think that's really like the core, you know, our self-esteem, how we think and feel about ourselves.
Right.
We have found a way to communicate to our boys that they're valuable, that they're loved, that they're capable, that they're forgivable. The core foundational messages that build our self-esteem. We don't love ourselves. And if you don't love yourself, how you look, your black, your nose, your not knee, can't say. If you don't love that when you look in the mirror, you can't love another individual.
Right.
We haven't been able to come up, or we send the message by our words and our actions to say, no man, you love them, no, as is, where is. If you get a C.A.R.E, you know so you're created in the image of God. You have abilities inside of you. We have to find a way, because if you never get that, nothing stop him, you know.
You know what the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. The key is that you have to start with self. You have to find a way to love self. And it's after you love self that you start to love those around.
I don't love myself enough so that I have to change my color. I have to bleach.
Yeah.
You understand?
It's a whole new kind of world.
It's a whole different thing. Let's not get there.
You mentioned emotional intelligence. What I think happened is because of a part of raising our boys, especially in the single-parent household, and, you know, for example, we always use it, you know, when you fall, don't cry. You find that our boys grow up and suppress their emotion. But the thing is, there comes a point where them say pressure bust pipe. And I think what we see now playing out in the media, just generally where domestic violence, intimate partner violence, is as a result of the lack of emotional intelligence and self-regulation. And so that is a problem. So on one hand, we are being reactive, but the truth is we also need to put a lot of focus on being proactive.
Proactive, yeah. Because this can easily, right now, I think we're at a turning point. We're at a point that we need to just turn the ship. You know? And then we have to look at our society has in different elements. It has a family, but it also has a school system. And I believe that because our boys becoming men spend so much time in the school system could become one place where we start to educate them or re-educate them in all that they need to become men.
Of course,
you know?
of course.
But I don't know if we have aligned or assigned the curriculum time.
You know, interestingly, you talk about at the primary level, girls and boys don't mature at the same speed. And if you look at even, whether it's GSAT or PEP, we're at PEP now, you know, we expect our boys to go at the same rate as the girls, and that is not happening. And so the classroom itself needs some attention in terms of reflecting or facilitating how our boys learn, and that is very important.
Interesting. I want you to see the opinions of Wayne Robinson, principal of Jamaica College, as he just looked at the difference between how boys learn and how girls learn, and then after that we'll return.
Boys and girls do learn differently. Boys tend to be more tactile. They're kinesthetic learners. They do things, they build things, they destroy things. And so it's better when they learn with an activity and something that we call project-based learning. And you'll find that boys are much more engaged that way. When we were growing up, you had 4 institutions: family, church, community, and school, more or less. Now you can add to that multimedia, meaning the internet and television. If you look at what is happening now, family losing, community losing, meaning they don't have that influence anymore. We're left with church doing its best, and a lot of the boys don't go to church. Really where they are forced to go is school. And of course, the internet and the multimedia happens. So school plays a very significant role because that's the compulsory time they have with leadership that can guide them. The challenge with school is that for boys, the education system is predominantly women. A lot of the teachers are women. At JC, they're probably about 60-70% women teachers. That's a challenge because Not that women can't grow boys, but they can't like men. And there are things that are men things that they need to learn in a kind of rule that they need to understand how to treat women, for example. How they go about daily understanding themselves as men, their own sexuality, the things they will learn to do as they grow into adulthood. And a lot of those will require the education from men in the education system. It's, as I said, a philosophical question. It's something we grapple with. We have guidance counselors. Guidance counselors are few and far between. JC has 1,700 students and 3 guidance counselors. We have challenges. Maybe the church can play a bigger role in getting into the schools to help with the guidance of boys. Students generally, boys in particular.
Yes, welcome back. Good insights from one of our top educators. Just the difference between boys and girls. And in the school system, I think over the years, there have just been a lot of women that teach. And you know, the boys not finding a good example at home.
Right.
And if they had a lot of male teachers, at least then he would be able to find that.
Right.
But a lot of the classrooms are filled with females. Any experiences in that?
You know, what came to me readily, I have had some fantastic teachers. Big up to the teachers.
Yes.
Right.
However, once in a while, you have a teacher that really irks you. And I remember sitting in the back of the class, and this maths teacher would say, you see all you boys, all of you going to turn fisherman. The whole lot of you. And you see the girls, them, you girls are going to be so-and-so, and all of that. And it hit me. And you know, at that point in time, no father, I don't know where he is.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm hearing this now. I said to myself, I'm not going to do her work, you know, because I don't like her. I'm going to punish her. Of course, I feel it, the thing. But it did something to me.
Yes.
She, an authority person that I'm looking up to, could have helped me. She could have empowered me, but she didn't do that. And I think that was verbal abuse. What am I saying is that even the school system, it's an opportunity to help our boys.
Yes.
Where are we still abusing our boys verbally? By belittling them and talking down to them and how them worthless and a idiot and all the kind of things. We have to change that kind of script. Life and death is in what? The power of the tongue.
Right?
So that is something that we have to consider.
We're facing a problem because at home, we quoted the figures earlier, led by mainly mothers.
Right.
You go into the education sector. And it's not that males aren't there or males don't come through. It's just that they leave because for a man, I can't stay as a teacher because I need to provide for my family. So they leave or they transition to something else. It's amazing how many persons who are in corporate, men, who they tell you, you know, so I used to teach, but I couldn't stay there. So maybe it is, we're going to have to look at, you know, solutions at some point. You understand?
Right.
Incentivize it, I don't know. But even where guidance and counseling is concerned, you have schools that have, co-ed schools that only have female guidance counselors. And we're not knocking our females. We love you. We respect you. But we understand the importance of that male figure. You understand? Some things that a youngster is going through, especially through his teenage years, identity versus real confusion, he needs a male now, not just to come talk theory, but to say practically, this is how I handle or manage my time during that stage.
Yeah, that's so true. And as Robinson was saying, kinetic learning is what boys do, and female teachers don't really teach that way.
Well,
So,
there's some.
There are some. I'm not knocking all the female teachers, but most female teachers, and just like how the girls learn, you put it on the board and they grasp that quickly.
Right.
We men, not so quick where that is concerned. We like to do projects.
Right.
My son, we bought a little thing for him to build a robot that will take about a week, and I should be there to help him to build a robot. In 24 hours, he built the robot all by himself without calling that. Because that's how boys learn. And we need that kind of thing. And it's easier for a man to teach a boy that than for a woman.
Right. And then the man would harm some kind of something to emulate.
Right.
Somebody so that he can look on that
Yes.
and that man and say, this is the way a man behaves. So one of the statistics is indicating that because of the absence of positive role models, the role models that they see come up in music, the role models that they see come up and the man on the street corner, depending on where he lives. And the boys are taking the example from the wrong people and just repeating that example.
Yeah.
True. And it's not that the thing is, during the teenage years, the main influence for our youngster, our boys, are their peers. Now, if daddy was present from before, he would have now had moral authority to be able to now pull his son whenever he's being influenced.
Right.
And I think that's a part of the problem as well. Not being there throughout the different stages, and now when your son is at a stage where he's exploring, being influenced, now you want to come and talk to me? Now you want to show some form of authority? Where were you all along? And that's also a part of the break.
Yeah, because in those early years, the father would have set the integrity and the criteria that who I'm to be. So the child would know from 6 till 10 that I am this kind of person. These are my values.
Yeah.
But when he gets influenced with no values, open with white blank slate, all kind of things can come in. That's right.
And it is so significant because even during the adolescent stage, where is identity formation and your peers become significant and there's a separation from adult to your peers, parents are still very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are still very, very powerful. But if the man is not there, then other male figure with ulterior motives are gonna come in. So
sometimes the boys go searching for them.
They do.
Because they start to just need this figure. So they'll find the figure wherever the figure is available.
Of course.
And if these guys are willing, they are going to get the influence.
Because the peers will say X and Y, and they will want to validate that. And if they have no father, they'll find, as you say, a father figure, the man on the corner, the TV show, the musician, and say, hey, this is what they are using to validate them, which is most times is not the right way.
The gangs attract them in validating something that is missing. The gangs provide a false sense of family
and security.
and security and me check for you, you're my youth. You don't know, say, we hold each other back and things like that. The man ego, it feel good because the youth, they check for me. My father gone. I remember I blood up a poor time, can feel abandoned and rejected by the man I'm supposed to look to. And here's another man now, or again, other men that say, no, man, that we look out for each other. And so you feel a sense of belonging.
Come drink 2 beers with me, man. You want a spliff? That, that kind of thing? Yeah, because he's now being loved. That's the kind of love. He's getting the warmth of somebody around him, which he's missing from his real father.
So what you're saying pretty much, is that for our men to develop to be the fathers that they should be, it needs a combined role from the society. It needs all sectors of the society firing in the same direction at the same time. Because we know the characteristics of a good man, of a good father. The characteristics of a good father is a father that loves his children and is able to express that love and receive the love from his children. A man who is able to lead his family. Joshua said, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And if you say you're leading and you're walking and nobody is following you, you only take it a stroll, right? You're on your own. So you have to lead that the people will follow you. Then it is a father who provides for his family, who understands his role. And did one of you mention that sometimes we think that that's the only role that we are to do, but it's part of the role, but not the only role.
Not the only one.
And if you're not working, look, it's about your intent and your desire. What you need to do is to provide in the ways that you want to provide in. Then a man who will set an example, who is worth following, because your children do what they see, less than what they hear. Because if you hear it and you're not doing it, we are in all kind of problem. It is a man who will teach his children, and I think we had mentioned it before, a man who will discipline his children. So the challenge that we have is that we all have this ideal for the man, how do we start to think about translating it in such a way from the society to bring it into his kind of consciousness, into his understanding? Where does he start to get that foundation from?
Yeah. I think we can start by letting the man know that we understand his pain. We understand that it is hard. Life difficult, subtle.
Yeah.
No, just agree with him. Say difficult. Because many times, all he needs is an understanding. You don't have to agree with him, you know, but you need to understand him and make him know, say, yeah, me understand it rough. And then he relaxes, and we want him to consider some choices, like the power of choice.
Yeah.
The power of you choosing to change your future. That you don't have to repeat the past. Not because daddy wasn't there and when we're doing rough and thing, but you know, say you have the power under God now to make some choices that can transform your future and leave a different legacy. Can you begin to envision that kind of thinking? Because a man thinketh, so he becomes.
Yes.
So is a whole changing of his thoughts and his thinking. And can we have that conversation? What would that look like? So all of a sudden now, looks at the possibilities and point him to other persons too who have done it without condemnation. Just say, look at the possibilities. What is it that you have in your head? Yes, the dream and your hopes and your aspiration. If we kind of help him to do that, I think it's gonna build his self-esteem. Then it gives him hope. It's like he realize, we can change the thing. I think that would be a huge step if we can have that kind of a conversation.
Approach is key. Just to emphasize what Kevin said, it is important, and I find that depending on how you go to someone, talking to him about his role, you'll either accept it or decline or refuse, reject whatever it is that you're saying. And once you approach them with some level of being sincere, I find that they will listen. Yes. And I find that a lot of fathers who are not playing their role effectively as a father, it's because they don't understand. And if you can pull alongside them, not in front of them, not behind them, pushing them, but alongside them, identify with them, I find that more men are more receptive to correction.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that is very important.
Definitely.
Well, I like what you said, because what happens, sometimes you go to church on Father's Day, and from you enter the door on Father's Day, them just telling the man what him do.
Yes.
For the whole
Sunday. My God.
But I like what Jesus says, that you're coming alongside the man.
Yes.
And I like what you're saying. You're understanding where he's at and saying that we are going somewhere together.
Yes.
I'm going to walk beside you and not pushing you.
Not pushing you.
Right? And not walking ahead of you like I'm superior to you. I'm a man who is just with you. And I'm going to help you. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. I plug for the ladies,
Yes.
Boys and men tend to do better when they are complimented for what they're already doing and pointing out what they're not doing.
Right.
So it's amazing, how boys and men get better. If you're trying to force a man, he might go defend himself.
Yeah.
Wall go up.
Yes.
Come there, man. Yeah, man. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me like that. You're my mother. Not talk to me like that.
Yes.
So you have to have this kind of strategy, I tell you, my wife find a thing, should I say, Kevin, when you have some time, could you do this for me? When you have some time. Notice what she said. When, of course, I know she mean no. But she worded. No, I tell you, if we approach our boys and our men and from a position, because we have ego,
don't dictate.
No, make a request.
Yes.
When you have some time, and if we kind of approach, because we keep doing the same things, over and over, and we expect different results. We cuss out the man, you're worthless, you go bar, come home, God have mercy. It's like him can't win. It's like him work hard and him trying best, and by the time him come home, pure cussing again.
Right.
And other women out there, other people, I say, you do this and you get accolades and all them kind of thing there. When you come home, a pure thing, you can't take out the garbage, you can't do that. Him can't win, him don't get better. You have to change the script in how we deal with our boys, our fathers as well. I think we get better out of them.
If you want different results, you can't do the same thing.
Methodology needs to
Yes, man, methodology needs to change.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
We have to first acknowledge that, yes, there's an issue.
which I think we all have.
Right.
You know?
And that's why we're here.
Yes.
To have the conversation.
Yes.
The conversation needs to be had.
Yes.
And then, as we have been saying, draw alongside them and say, yeah, here, we work on this together. We can fix this.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
We all don't know all the answers.
No.
Right.
But we can work on this together and fix
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to come back to this subject because I really want to come back, especially the role of females in helping men to become better fathers.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But right now, we want to see Esther Bradshaw and just her experience as a teacher and a trainer who trains people to lead boys and help them. I just want to hear what she has to say.
In my experience, boys and girls do learn differently. Boys tend to be the ones that like to experiment, they like competition, they like games, they like to break apart things and to put things together. And I have found that over the years, the boys, you have to cater for them. You have to cater. I have a little boy that I used to teach in grade 3. And when I got him, every teacher that taught him before said, Lord, this boy giving so much trouble and he's this and he's not settled and all of that. And all I did was say, that is not happening in my class. And I started to just give him things to do. He was my monitor and he had to go and do the children's own and all of those things back then. What happened with him? He had to finish his task that he was given, and then he could go outside. By the middle of the term, he came to me one day and said, Miss, I'm tired, I have too much work to finish, and I need somebody else to take over. I said, you find the next boy who is to take over from you. That boy got all good grades. His mother had to come to me and ask me what happened, because I didn't call her one time. What happened? I thought about who he was and how he learned. He was not a sit down and just be quiet. And I found that most of my boys that I taught was like that. So yes, boys do learn differently from girls. Even as I taught in the college, in the discipline that I was teaching, the boys, I told my teachers that the boys are different. There's a course that I did that helped children who had literacy challenges. And my student teachers had to do an assessment of an individual child. And when my student got a boy, I said to them, look here, we're going to take them outside, we're going to find games, and we found that as we did those things with the boys started doing better and they started to show improvement. I want to put a little plug in for the new curriculum that the Ministry of Education now has. Yes, we're having a lot of challenges with it because it is new. But I have been through 3 changes in our Jamaican curriculum. And this curriculum is the curriculum that I think that our boys, if taught properly, will do so much better. It allows for creativity. It allows for collaboration. It allows for critical thinking. It allows children to explore. And that's just what our boys need, to be able to explore. And it allows them to transfer what they are learning in this course or in this class to the real world situation. Boys need to see the connection. And so if this is continued at the teachers' college level, and the teachers transfer that into their learning, our boys will do well.
So welcome back to Scaling the Barriers, and we have been looking at the issues that men face in our society, and we have been trying to articulate them out, and it's a very complex issue. We are living in a season where there is a lot of demand placed on the men to be good fathers and just to be good men. But when we are looking at it, we're living a society that we don't think has all the ingredients that is necessary to build or make or produce the kind of man that the society wants out of us. So what we are looking at now is that we want to start to look at some of the solutions. What are the things that we need to put in place so that at the end of the day, we have the men that we want. And you ladies, you must be very interested in this section, right? Because we are working for you. Anyway, Jackie Coke-Lloyd says that in her thesis, she says that men prioritize the wrong thing, and therefore we need to start to re-socialize, re-educate the society, you know, because we need to get them now to start looking at the right things.
Yeah. So it's complex because who is going to take the lead in doing this?
Right.
And I think it requires wisdom, you know, just how do we, getting all the knowledge, understanding where we are, how do we move from there? I think if we operate from a place of love, it's extremely important because love is the greatest.
Right. Yes.
If we operate from a place of love, because when you operate from love, you're going to come hope and empowerment and encouragement than a place of fear, you know, anxiety and depression and sadness. So if we look at our men from a place of love, it's going to affect how we relate to them. Sometimes we're trying to scale a fish and we don't catch it, you know.
Right.
We have to try and catch it.
That's an interesting thought.
No,
don't catch it.
It's true. You have to catch it first, right? Yes. So this is, Jayson mentioned it, you know, in building a relationship with our men. Because if we, man don't really care how much you know until them know how much you care.
Yeah.
That's important. I remember in our Baptist church in Cedar Valley, I don't know my father, I don't have anybody, I don't know where he is, but there's this Deacon Johnson, and we said, Kevin, come and do a testimony. And I said, Deacon Johnson, what is a testimony? He said, just go up and share what Christ doing in your life. And I said, I can't do it. He said, no, boy, you can do it. You can do it. Oh, he said it to me, the first man ever said that. And I'm looking at me and he said, you can do it.
Yeah.
I went up and he said, good job, I told you can do it. The next time he said, do an exhortation. I said, that's a big word. What's that? And him tell me. He said, no, man, just read the Bible, pray, and then what come to you, just share. And I said, he said, well, you can do it. And I did it. And he said, I tell you could do it. Is later in life, I realized him couldn't read all right. Deacon Johnson couldn't read all right. But he did something to me that no other man ever did.
Man.
He transformed my life.
My goodness.
And it's late in my life. I said, my God, the man couldn't read all right. And may I tell you something? There was in that same church a medical doctor with his family. And all he did was sit in a, like a barefoot boy and so, he would go so. Go down. Never spoke a word of empowerment. Wow. I want to say to men, it's not your qualification or your position or whatever, you have something inside of you that you can encourage a little boy, a little guy on the street there, so just to connect with him and make him start believe in himself.
Would I high five you about 10 times?
No, it changed my life. It changed.
Believe me on that.
There's a little thing that happened at my son's school where, they're coming from first form and it is said that it's the rowdiest form, that class that he's in. And we as fathers, we organize a cookout just to man them and to invite the boys. And we'll go out and we play football and domino and we just start talk to them and make them understand, say, you don't have to be like that to be a good student, to be a man. You just need to be cool and do what you need to do. And we show them the example. And from time to time, you see improvement. Now, the class is not the worst class anymore.
Not the worst.
It's up here.
Not the worst class.
No, we're not saying we're the best class. No, we're not. But we're not at the bottom anymore. But the improvement is there. We did this in third form. Yeah. And in first and second form, we were definitely there. So at the beginning of third form, we start. Now the same group is in fourth form, and they are not the worst class. And it's something that we have to, as you said, draw alongside them. Give them the example. Show them, boy, we love you, And because we love you, why we are doing this, And we care for you. Once boys find that you care,
Yes.
Yeah, man.
They lock them on.
We talk about re-educate
Right.
the society. Growing up, the term of I'm both mother and father. I think the society is now based on data, based on what is playing out, recognizing too that, you know, with all due respect to mothers, single mothers, you really can't father, you know, your sons. So I think that narrative, that false perception, that false notion is now being dismantled. And that is a part of the whole re-education now. And a lot of the single mothers are realizing that, yes, the ideal is to have his biological father. But if the biological father is not there, there are men who can model the positive manhood that is needed. And I don't have to be intimately involved with him either.
Yes.
And so that now, I find that persons are gravitating towards.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what Deacon Johnson did.
Yes.
That's what Peter.
Yeah.
Because maybe there are boys in his group, in the class, that don't have
don't
any fathers.
father.
But
Right,
now
right.
they are going out with these fathers
Yes.
that are helping them to just see men. And that little pep talk does change their...
And Pastor, you mentioned that ladies have an important role. I think it's crucial. I mean, women have worked so hard, they've gone through pain too, they've been in shame-based society. So they have inherited some harsh things. And at the same time, we want to request of them that instead of exacerbating the situation, they can help to calm it by respecting the men who have brought their sons and their daughters, even if they don't deserve it.
Right.
Yes.
Very important, you know.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
gosh.
That's a hard
When I
one.
say I know it's difficult, subtle, but if we're going to change the narrative,
Yes.
they have to find a way to be healed by releasing the anger
Bitterness.
and the bitterness, you know, and
Right.
because that is going to send a signal. Even though my father wasn't in my life, you know, I had him in my head as a hero, and I hated my mother who was there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that as a teenager. I didn't know what was happening. Things are changing around me. I just get up and I start to dream that my father is like this. I see him fly helicopter. Pure lie, may I tell. But I have this thing in my head because I want him.
Yes.
You
Yes,
see?
yes.
And I turned it on my mother who was very present, taking care of me.
Right.
And it caused one bag of confusion until the thing. So sometimes single mothers going to get a pushback.
Yes.
And the anger is not geared towards them, but it's them get it because you in the space.
Right.
And if the mothers could recognize, and I know, get some help and support and thing, but don't abuse the child because in favor daddy.
Right.
You see? And at the same time, try not to talk too much bad things about daddy.
Yeah.
You know, try and still...
What less papa?
Yes, I mean, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Because what you're doing, you're either going to perpetuate some stuff or you stop it there so, and you start the healing process. I think we have to complement each other. And we need our women, as hard as it is, to be able to release some of that venom under God so that there can be restoration. A hard one, but I still have to put it out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As
Yes.
well.
Michael McIntosh-Jones said mothers have been significantly downplaying the role of fathers. And this research was done by Caribbean Child Development Center. That women sometimes, I guess because of pain and their experience, even deny the visitation rights of some dads who want to play a part in. So there, in our history, there's a lot of pain. That's just a raw truth. Right?
Yes.
But if we keep going in the same direction that we are going, we are just going to be perpetuating the same thing over and over again. And we want a change.
Yes.
So one, as the opposite sex, and as Kevin said, you have a very, very important role in just helping men to see what is possible. You know? So we have to encourage the boys and sons or daughters to see their fathers. We have to be those people who will be there alongside and being that person of encouragement, becoming that role model. Well, women can't be really role models for boys after a certain age, but help them to get associated with role models. You know? Where do you think we can find some role models? Where do you think we can find some men that boys can
Well, for
emulate?
some persons like myself who I'm also in the education field, not directly in the classroom. But I think we need to further empower our coaches. I think our coaches are placed on a pedestal. And many of them mentor through the sporting discipline.
Yeah.
But I think if we recognize, even from primary school, boys tend to draw to the PE teachers.
Yes.
So if we can somehow get a lot of our coaches to move beyond just being a coach and also more like a father/mentor, I think we can go a far way. You understand? And I honestly believe that's an untapped area that we need to somehow broaden the horizon a bit of our coaches for them to understand.
Right.
And that's an area that I think we can improve.
Right. I think that, as we have been saying, I think the education system has a key role to play in all of this. You know, in recent times, there has been just this emphasis on female empowerment, and rightfully so.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are some countries in which females are oppressed, even more than our country, etc. But in our country, we want that to occur. But I believe also that there needs to be some affirmative action for men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because men have been marginalized. Men are currently, we need to pay attention because whatever it is, our history or otherwise, our men are going south. You know?
So Pastor, I was thinking that a radical thing might be to look at is like for the country to have the year of the man. You know, everything that is going to be done is geared towards from boys to men as to their significance and importance and more like training.
Right.
If you have a whole year and then churches can have the year of the man. Because our ladies would benefit, our families would benefit, because, I mean, men are responsible, most of the murders, most of the stuff that is happening. So suppose we identify a whole year, and every activity from Sunday school right through would be focusing on man and what he's supposed to look like, him own healing, him safe space, and all of that, and complement. Sometimes I think things like that may be a good thing to shift, so that he feels validated, he feels like he must smaddy, you know. Rex Nettle says smaddification. It's like, yeah, man, him just realize that, no, man, them start to pay me attention, because that's why I will put them, you know, I go on, because them not feel powerful. Remember, power is significant to men. Power more than anything. When a woman is angry, you know, generally underneath she feels unloved. When a man is angry, generally underneath, he feels powerless. Like him say, what happened to me? What? Me no man. How come me don't feel successful? How come me don't have no power? And I think we now have to look at that. How can we empower our boys to men? And we may deliberately, from government, from church, just have a whole system. And probably it's just something different. Because if we just keep doing the same things, then we're going to get the same results.
Right. Just some powerful things here. You know, the household, you know, sometimes we look at this and we're talking about individual here, but maybe even from a government perspective, we can start to look at household. We can start to look at the policies that we make that surround even with the way how family is made up. You know, we have been discussing just so much in regards to family and men, and this has really been just a really charged and very encouraging and at the same time informative discussion. I want us to just look at Wayne Robinson again as he just articulates and speaks a little bit more about boys and men in school.
And so the church has a role that it has to rethink and review so that it has a bigger impact on young people. And young people are gathered in schools, more so than in churches. So the church may need to now find a time that they schedule to come into schools and provide that guidance in collaboration with the school. So at JC, for example, we work with Ascension and the community churches, and they come in at times. But it's not just about spreading the gospel. It's also about the guidance of the characteristics that build up men and build up young people. The church may need to consider or rethink their own impact and how they're going to make that impact using schools.
So welcome back to Scaling the Barriers. And I have these esteemed men with me, and we have been just speaking about what we need as men. We have articulated some of the problems, and now we're articulating some of the solutions. And when we took our break, we were on government policy, just government policy. And my thought is this: in some jurisdictions, it is better to be married financially. So the whole system is set up to foster marriages, right? Because couples together get better benefits, taxes, housing, and the like. And I'm wondering if that could be part of the solution here in Jamaica. In other words, men would now be, it would be better for them to have the stability of a marriage. And if they had the stability of a marriage, they would have the children there, and the children would have the father at home, etc. Anyway, I'm throwing that out to you guys and hearing your thoughts on it.
Well, certainly government have the power and resources to make massive change, and we do it in different ways. So why not the family and helping the family? Research tells us, that if you're in a great marriage, you're healthier, wealthier, and happier.
Right.
Right. Wealthier, healthier,
and happier. Yes.
That's what the research out of
man
University of Chicago. Which don't want that. Right. But we have to be convinced, because it's going to change some stuff from King's House to Arms House. That's not easy, because everybody have to go line up and own them thing.
Right.
And say, all right, we're sin then. We mess up, but we want a different thing.
Right.
And so we're going to put the resources and the policies, because that can do a lot, to help our men. So here's a template. Yeah. You can be in a committed relationship. Old dog like me and trailer load and them kind of thing there.
Right.
And you're going to be healthier. You're going to be wealthier. You're going to be happier. Look at the European countries, first world countries, less rate of divorce, and it affects the economy.
Yeah.
Here, so you have 10 different baby mothers and 5 dogs to feed. The money have to go all over the place. So can we show them, some things?
Right.
I think men would listen. We don't raise the bar. It's like our expectations of them not so high. When a man is, when expectations are high, men rise up to it,
Yeah.
So I think government has a huge part to play.
To add to that, too, in the context of marriage, from the government perspective, the conversation where paternity leave has started, and I think it would better safeguard against any form of trying to manipulate or go around, circumvent the benefits of a paternity leave. So just to add that there, having the benefits, promoting the family from a government perspective, and in that now, because Sweden does it, we see some benefits there. No, I'm not one to say because a country do it, we must do it. But we can look at some benefits and model it. And I think paternity leave, putting the necessary safeguards, marking marriage is already there based on what is put forward. And I believe we will also see more fathers again in the home helping the mother, because the paternity leave is not for the father.
Right.
It's not so much even for the mother, but for the child.
Yes.
But it's a package. The mother and child comes together.
Right.
All right. What if the government put a policy in where musicians do a certain number of songs for school, not just inspirational good song, for school, and you give them incentive. You get, every musician wants a Benz come down or a Lamborghini, and you give them package that you get.
Men like Lamborghini.
Yes. And you get X duty free to carry on that, but you have to do X amount of songs for the school to help build the education system.
Right.
How would that look?
Yeah.
Right. So those are some of the policies.
And a perfect example, Vibes Cartel, who every Jamaican know. I mean, he did a song some time ago, pull up your pants and put it on your waist and don't bleach your face. And it had a resounding effect. Bounty killer, both on the pressure on the boat.
Right.
And it at the time, it created a buzz. But also, in addition to the entertainers, the disc jocks who are like the gatekeepers, based on what you're saying, incentivized, we need to maybe do that as well. because they are getting, before I mentioned that these artists will tell you we have those songs, you know. So it's just for it to be played.
I think we have to just educate people. I think it might be, look here, a lot of this is coming from slavery now. If we had 200 years of this, it's not going to change in a year.
Right, true.
We have to determine to do it over a longer period of time. We have to determine to say the same messages over and over, like what you said. So change the policies in regards to the music industry. I hear Bounty Killer now saying that he stopped singing certain lyrics, and whatever has happened, he's coming to the consciousness that his music is affecting people's lives. And I have a responsibility to them to sing a certain type of song because we have to help our people to just change the narrative.
Of course.
You know, one of the institutions that is found in every community in Jamaica is a church.
You mean not a bar?
Huh?
Church.
Well, it's church and bar.
That's true.
It's like there's a comparison between church and bar, but both of them are in the community.
I wouldn't put barbershop too, you know.
No, okay. So what role do you think the church could play in this?
No, oh gosh, I mean, churches can play, and I have to say churches have been playing a role.
True.
So we have to give some credit there.
Right.
You think of the educational system.
Yes.
If you have been to school, then
yes,
a church more than likely has played a part.
Right.
Multiplicity of things from, ownership of land, and the Baptists did a whole heap of that, Slykerville and others. So church has made contribution and transformed life. Many of us is because of church.
Exactly.
I am,
because of church.
So I'm just saying we have done some great things. What I think, though, is that we can be more influential in recognizing how Jesus connected with people by not condemning them, but meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And then work from there.
Right.
I think we haven't done so well in how we relate to people, whether they are prostitutes or homosexuals or drunkards or whatever.
Right.
We've kind of shunned them, and then it's Saturday and Sundays, the holy days. That's the time we want to say hello to them.
Right.
But the rest of the week, we don't care how them eat, we don't care about them children, things like. So we don't build a relationship because we don't feel that they can be loved. And I think church would have to shift how we view each other. I think a big thing, anybody that comes to your church door should be celebrated. Not pointing out what them wearing or what them look like and or you look like that.
Definitely.
That's a big thing, Like, can you imagine if you greet everybody as if they are significant and important?
Right.
Me think that thing they would have changed because love is the greatest and everybody wants to be loved.
Right.
And if we could have just have that message in churches, not so much about the rituals and things that we consider, but how Jesus operates.
Right.
That could have transformed their mindset because people feel valued by the way we're connecting to them. I think the church could transform a lot more lives just by having that kind of approach. And maybe this is something that we have to have a conversation. What would that look like? But to accept that, we dropped the button in certain areas. But we know can change and come differently.
I think so Kevin spoke about, say, within the four walls, and they come and stuff. But I also believe in terms of outreach. And we mentioned the education sector. Schools, particularly the guidance department, they're looking for support. They recognize the deficit where fatherhood is concerned. And so if churches, the men who are in churches, in terms of, particularly through the men's department, can strategically partner with the guidance counselors because they can identify the children and to go in, not just to have a devotion that really, a lot of times the devotion is like a knee-jerk reaction, but to go in with a sustained program, say, let's call it School Fathers. Because the truth is, the schools are being infiltrated otherwise. Now, as the church, we believe we have the gospel, but as well, we believe we have what it is, the morals and the values in which a young man should live or a young woman. If we infiltrate through the guidance department, I am sure they will welcome us. Of course, we will screen who it is that we have go in. Very important. And I think, and so I think strategically, we have to look at our methodology in terms of evangelism. Right. Because Jamaica is vastly evangelized in terms of the proclamation of that Jesus saved. But the demonstration as it relates to livity and pull alongside, which speaks to love, caring, and that is through fatherhood, through the guidance, and also the Dean of Discipline department, which are two different departments in a school.
Nice, nice.
I think we need to rebuild our trust. Church, society have a little view of church because we've dropped the ball here, we've dropped the ball there. Yes. We need to get down and say, yes, we have done this wrong. Acknowledge it. That's one of the things that some churches don't do. We are holy and righteous, and we need to say, yes, we have done this wrong. Give us a chance to fix this. That's where we...
And rebuild the trust.
Rebuild the trust.
Thank you very much. This discussion is such an important one that we don't want it to end here. And we really need to continue breaking down and overcoming these barriers so that as fathers, we can better raise our children and transform our nation. So thank you for joining us. Let's keep the conversation going. Comment below with your own questions and revelations. And a big thanks to Minister Kevin Bailey from Family Life Ministries. Thank you, sir. Reverend Jayson Downer from Mogava, and Minister Peter Samuels from Mentoring a Nation for sharing with us today. It has been a great, great, great time. God bless you all. Real good.